What's shaking, my friends? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Shay, and today we're gonna do my January 2024 TBR. I cannot believe that it is January 2024 already, but I am all ready to go for this new year. I'm really pumped. I'm really hyped. Now, let me tell you guys, I'm going to be doing the jars this month. I took a break in November and December to kind of catch up on things that I needed to read, and we're back here in January to do these jars. So what I did was I went through my last jars, and I'll post a video here of me doing so, or showing you how many I removed. I removed things I was no longer interested in. I also added some things, and I dumped my new releases for 2023 into this already overflowing backlist jar, which I'll show you me doing that here. I am super excited. I also took some new releases out that I was, again, no longer interested in. So if you don't know how my TBR jars work, I pull 4 books out of each of these jars, and I hold myself accountable for reading 1 out of each jar. If I do not read at least 1 out of each jar, then I have to take a punishment and read 2 books out of whichever jar I did not read from that month before, or the last time I did the jars in 2024's case. I also hold myself accountable to reading 1 book from a series. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and get started. I don't have many new releases in here, so because it's the first of the year, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to pull these out. A lot of these are mystery thrillers, so we have this number 1, and let's see what it is. This is going to be The Search Party. I'm not sure who that's by, but we'll figure it out. It's a mystery thriller, I know. So number 2, this is going to be the last book, I don't know if I can see that, in Bridget Kimmerer's trilogy that starts with Defy the Night. So I like to end series for sure. This is a very intriguing sci-fi. This is 13 Ways to Kill Lulabelle Rock, and that is a new sci-fi dealing with clones that's coming out, which I'm excited about. And then number 4 is finally going to be Only If You're Lucky by Stacey Willingham. Now, I'm not going to talk about what these necessarily books are about right now, because most of them are mystery and thrillers. And so I don't like to know a lot about my mystery thrillers. I'll pop the covers, as I'm talking about them. But I am looking forward to what I pulled. It seems like it's going to be a mystery thriller kind of month for me of the new releases jar. Now, my own jar, I did take some out of here, and the thing is I went ham in November and December with buying books with the Audible sale. I supported all the indie authors. Like, all of y'all got support from me, because I added something like 65 books with audio and physical in the month of November and December. So it was a Christmas present to me. I normally do not buy books like that. I only do it twice a year. That's my birthday and that's Christmas. So I have added a lot of owned books in here, and I am super, super excited to get to most of these. So let's go ahead and dive in. This is number 1. Okay. So this is 7 Faceless Saints. The only reason I still have 7 Faceless Saints in this jar, it's one of the only YA fantasies I still have in the jar, is because I got it from Fairy Loot. I used to subscribe to YA Fairy Loot, and so I have this nice edition. But since that time, it's gotten really terrible reviews, but I'm still, it's still up there. It's still on my shelves to read, and I'm not quite sure what it's about, but I think it's a YA fantasy with some romantic elements in it. Okay, I have this one, number 2. Okay, so this, if y'all can see that, is Ocean's Echo, which is the kind of companion novel to Winter's Orbit, which I really, really, truly loved. It was one of my favorite books of 2022, but I never picked up Ocean's Echo. I started hearing some kind of negative reviews on it. It is a sci-fi. I'm assuming the first one had a romance subplot in it, but I heard that the second one is more hard-hitting sci-fi and less of the romantic plot to it. But I'm still very, very, very excited to read this, because I love the cover and I loved Everina Maxwell's first book. So I have this. This is the 3rd one. Okay, so I wrote this here, my terrible writing, but if you cannot see, that says Yumi. So that's Yumi and the Nightmare Painter. I have read only 1 of Sanderson's secret projects, and that was Tress. And so I do own Yumi and the Nightmare Painter. It's back here, and it's one that I'm very excited about reading because I hear very, very good things about that one. And so now we're going to pick our last book from our old jar. Got it, y'all. Okay, so this is The Eye of the World. Is this going to be the year that I start Wheel of Time? I don't know. I don't know. But I got The Eye of the World. We all know that this is the first book in the Wheel of Time that has 5,000 books, that has a slog in it. Interestingly, I was at my husband's Christmas party and one of his coworkers asked me if I had read Wheel of Time. And of course I said, well, I own the first 2 books, but I have not, I haven't read it. And part of my reticence is, you know, that slog that's in there. But he said that there is a slog, but his character work, Jordan's character work and everything was just worth it in the series, and it wouldn't be a very popular fantasy series, as popular as it is, if people didn't love it. So I'm willing to give it a shot. Is this going to be the month I give it a shot? I have no clue. So that is all in the owned jar. Now we're going to go to my indie self-pub jar. So it's also very full. I take, most of these books came from recommendations for me from viewers. So please, if you have a recommendation for an indie self-pub book, please drop it below and I will add it to here, because I don't know much about indie self-pub and so I have to take recommendations, right? And a lot of these are from my Spiffo 9 first chapter reads that I did. Okay, so this is, I believe I pulled it from my jars before. This is Panacea by Alex Robbins. I think that's his name. I loved this cover. I loved the first chapter when I read it for Spiffo 9. It has some minotaurs. Is that minotaurs on the cover? I think so. It's a fantasy and I could not be more thrilled to read that if that's what I choose to read. Okay, 2, Chain of Blood. So Chain of Blood is, I believe, written by Emil Spencer. I read Dragon Mage and I loved Dragon Mage 100%. And so I wanted to read more Emil Spencer, so I put one of the first books of her other series in here. I think there's another series that may come before that I need to read before this one. I'm not quite sure. I'll have to research that. But I am loving Emil Spencer. Okay, now we're going to choose number 3. Here it is. Okay, I have pulled this book out multiple times out of this jar. I don't know, I did shuffle it up, but this is The Bleeding Stone by Joseph Lee. I now believe I have the audiobook for this book because I purchased it. So I'm very excited to get into that. I really loved the first chapter when I read it in Spiffo 9. Kind of like a historical vibe to it, which I don't love historical fantasy that much, but this one really pulled me in. So 4th and last from indie self-pub. All right, and that's going to be Phased by Victoria Tekken, also known as Tori Talks here on YouTube. I also read that for a first chapter, for Spiffo 9 first chapter reads. Really enjoyed it. It's a YA, has werewolves in it. I think werewolves, yes, and I'm here for it. I'm here for the relationship dynamics of that book. And so that's it for indie self-pub. Sorry if the angle has changed. I had to change the battery, of course. But I have this backlist next, and look how large this is becoming. I don't know how many books are in here, but it is quite some hundreds. So I have done my best to kind of clean this out of books that I own. But if I draw a book that I now own, I will just move it to the owned jar, and I will pick another one. So, all right, here we go. 4 out of this big, huge, giant tub. 1. Okay. All right. So this is Song of Silver Flame Like Night, which is a YA fantasy, which again, I'm not the best, you know, I've kind of gotten out of that, but I've heard such great reviews about this. This came out in January of 2023, I believe, and the sequel is coming out in January of 2024, and they have gorgeous covers, and I like to continue to give that one a shot. This is going to be number 2. Okay. This is quite a newer release. This is an Inheritance of Magic by Benedict Jacka. He did the Alex Ferris series, which people liken to Dresden Files, but I have never read it. But he came out with this new kind of, I don't know if it's paranormal still, but it's intriguing. I think it is kind of a detective mystery. I don't know, but I kind of am wanting to kind of read that because I love the cover. All right, number 3. I have one in my hand. Let's see what it is. Okay, this is And Then I Woke Up, which is a horror novella, which I also love the cover of. Horror is always hit or miss for a lot of people, so I don't think this one has the best reviews, but I've seen some people read it and absolutely love it. And I don't know what it's about because I don't like to spoil myself for thrillers or horrors, but I'm intrigued. All right. Number 4 is going to be, okay, so this is Her Majesty's Royal Coven. This is a witchy book. I've seen, like, a lot of people review these. I've seen the multiple covers, like the UK version and the US version, and I am intrigued. I am intrigued to read all of that. So, as far as what books I think I'm going to read for sequels, that's an interesting thought. I want to continue Dresden, so that's obviously, you know, not a very big priority, but it's something that I can get through. I want to continue in, I don't know. I don't know. I have so many series. I need to get back into the Robin Hobb universe, but I think I'm going to reread Assassin's Apprentice before I jump back in. There are some sequels, of course, that I want to read, which is Engine of Chaos, which is the second one to the Engines of Empire. I also would like to read another one. However, I think I'm going to have to reread some of those books to really grasp what's going on in the second book, because I'm having not so much luck with remembering things I read from a year or 2 years ago. So I do also, I read The Justice of Kings in December, so I really would also like to read The Tyranny of Faith. So that's another one. That's another one that is like popping up on my radar as one that I want to read. Other than that, my reading plans for January include some Spiffo 9 reads that I'll have a vlog coming up of me reading all of those, and I'll be ranking all of those, hopefully, and we'll have all of those done by the time the actual competition results are announced, and I can kind of compare what I feel versus what the other readers felt. And that's all. That's all for the month of January. I'm really, really excited. I do plan on possibly vlogging for the month of January, but I also have a lot of my best of, worst of. I do have all of that content coming out in January. So I'm very just not knowing what I'm going to do as far as vlogging. I will be vlogging in the month of February though. So I love all of these picks. So that's it. That is all. Let me know what you guys are reading in January. What are you reading for the first month of the year? I feel like we're wiping away, we're having a clean slate, and I could not be more excited to read these books. And I will catch you guys later.